And so it isn't the case that all people are evil, are always liars, evil beasts, lazy gluttons. But the Bible's saying that Cretans are. Yeah. And no amount of mental gymnastics, guys, can get away from this. Okay, because if you affirm that the Bible is the Word of God, and Paul is saying this testimony is true, then you cannot hold the egalitarian position that we're all the same, right? Because one of the things I was thinking of, I looked it up and just to see if the Spartans still existed at this time, and they did. I mean, they were much diminished in there because Rome had dominated everything, but they still were known in this time for their austerity and their discipline, the Spartans. So that's Leonidas, the 300 Spartans, that held the hot gate against Xerxes, that they and died to a man. So they were known for their austerity and discipline. So that would be in stark contrast to a bunch of liars, evil beasts, and lazy gluttons, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Spartans and the Cretans are not the same, and that's true. And no amount of pretending that they are the same is going to make it true. And that's what we do in our current society, guys. We pretend that all the nations, all the different people groups are the same. Okay, so egalitarianism, I think, is we can see that men aren't the same, and even different nations of men aren't the same, and we can perceive from different kind of outcomes, different sort of things that we observe of different people, that is the case. And so I think one of the biggest ways that we see kind of the infiltration of this idea into the West is in the idea, I mean, more and more it's the multiculturalism stuff that's been trying to be forced on us. Like they're letting all these third worlders into the nations of the West, and it's like, oh, what's the big deal? Like, we're all the same, We're not all the same, okay? And but they're trying to make it that way, though. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do. They're either trying to obliterate the people that will stand against it, or that they think are a threat. For some reason, they believe that we're a threat. And, when I look around at the people in the West, we're about as least threatening as we've ever been in the history of our ancestors. Yeah. And so why do you think that is? Why do you think that we're so threatened by us?
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know if it's if it's that we are a threat, or if it's just that our ideologies and traditions historically have been threatening. And so to break those down, you have to break the people down. I'm not sure how to parse some of that out, but it is definitely evident that that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, they're right. They're trying to destroy the roots.
Yeah.
It's not not the plant right now is very threatening, because I think the plant is sick as all get out. It's never been sicker. Maybe the roots is what they fear, because maybe if that plant withers down enough, then a stronger one, like a tree, will start growing up or something. Yeah. They want to root those roots out, I think. But and so that's why they're flooding all this stuff, because we're not all the same. If we were all the same, they'd be doing it to all the other places too. But they're just doing it. They're doing it at a very particular place. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so they don't even believe that we're the same. It's an obvious lie, some sort of psyop in order to get us. And so I think the egalitarianism in the difference between men and women has been one of the key core places where they have tried to insert this in, because men and women are not the same. Men and women react to things differently. Okay, and so I think we see this in Genesis in the very beginning, when Satan goes to Eve instead of Adam to corrupt humanity. Mm-hmm. He goes to her and puts it on her, and instead of Adam. And so there's a reason he did that, right? I mean, you think he just flipped a coin and was like, oh, I'll go talk to her. There's no way that's true. There's no way. He was watching them and getting a beat on them, And that's why he did that. And it's the same thing that's happening now, guys, because if Satan can convince us, even after all the stuff that's gone on, even after Christendom has come up, that we have the Bible, the Lord says plain as day what we need to do, and our fathers read and understood it and wrote hundreds of thousands of volumes of books about it. And then we get to this point, and he still somehow has got us to disregard that,
Yeah.
and is trying to get us to say that we're the same. And I think that's why we see this transgender stuff that we see now, and particularly in it has never ceased to amaze me the next level of absurdity that we can get to. Every time something absurd becomes up, and it always enters into my mind. There's no way that people are going to let that happen. There's no way that they're going to do that. There's no way they're going to allow that. And then they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always like, in my mind, it's always, well, give it 5 or 6 years. It seems like, honestly, that's the pace we're going at these days. Like, what I thought was absurd 5 or 6 years ago is pretty well normalized today. And what is absurd now, give it 5 or 6 years.
Right. They'll take it to a whole nother level of absurdity that you didn't even think possible.
Yeah.
I just think about if you went back to, maybe to the 1910 or something, and brought somebody from there to here right now,
mm-hmm.
they would think. I think it's possible that they might think they were in hell.
Yeah.
Like actually in hell.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. It's also why this is so important, why having these conversations and being willing to tell the truth and search the scriptures on these issues is so important. So, we can sit back and talk about just the absurdity of it, and, I flippantly say give it 5 or 6 years, but the reality is that all the more is reason for why we need to be having these conversations right now and telling the truth in the face of this cultural push.
Right, and if you give it 5 or 6 years, only if the trajectory stays the way that it is. And so what I want, I think, is for people to get so upset at the wickedness and stuff that's going on and to see it so clearly, because I think that's part of the problem is that they're unsure mm-hmm. about if it's as bad as they think it is, So they kind of they'll ratchet it up a little bit, then they'll dial it back just a little bit, so that because you're starting to feel like you're going to do something about it, and then as soon as you get to that place, or the mass gets to that place, they dial it back just a little bit, so that people are like, oh, it's getting better. So then they come back down. Then they ratchet it up again, Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we get all the way over here.
Yeah.
And the people never do anything about it because they're doing it intentionally. They're ratcheting it up, moving that Overton window to where they want to. Then they dial it back just a little bit, just to take the edge off the people.
Yeah.
Then when they're feeling okay again, they ratchet it back up again. And it just keeps on going like that until it's up. And so, guys, it's a real good strategy because people are sheep. That's why the Bible calls people like that. We need a leader, I think, who is immune to that sort of thing, who sees that clearly and will continue to drive the sheep to destroy the people that are doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing here. Kind of talking about this stuff is an attempt to try to show people the truth enough to red pill enough people, or just to be a part of it, because it's not just us. There's a lot of other people that are also trying to push this right now to wake people up, so that eventually maybe, little Alfred the Great or Constantine or something out there who's like 12 years old, he's, you know what I mean? Like he's inculcating this, and God's preparing him to be that leader that we need.
Yes.
Because I think that's what we need, guys. We're too decentralized. We need a strong leader who people can rally behind and stay behind. You know what I mean? I think that's why they eliminate these people. Will kill people like that. If they think that they're
sure,
like John F. Kennedy, I think was one. They killed him because of something like that. Not that he was like the most virtuous man or whatever, but he was like, they don't like it when people aren't on their team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Who aren't playing ball with them. And let's just be honest. If you went if you go in Congress, there's only like a handful of congressional officials that I would say are absolutely not controlled by some entity. I mean, there's only like a few, maybe like 5.
Yeah.
Out of the 400 or however many's in there.
Yeah, 436 or something.
Yeah, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not good.
Mm-mm.
But one of those 5, if they were the leader that I'm talking about, that could be over for them real fast.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. So that's what we're kind of talking about here, and trying to trying to get enough people to realize that that's what they're doing. They're pushing you to the edge, and then they're just dialing it back a little bit so that you feel like, oh, maybe it's getting better. And then they're going to ratchet it up again. Just wait. We'll talk about it when it happens. I'll be like, see?